it's useful one way, sometimes it's not. And it can affect your design and your application very significantly. Other questions? And I should also note that typically I consider that a separate layer, a persistence layer. When people first start doing model view controller, they bake that into their model. And a better approach is to separate that out into a CRUD layer where you have your create, read, update, and delete operations so that your model stays just management of the data. And when you say persist, it goes off to the persistence layer to persist it. Now, there may be some, like I did on that Android one, there may be a little bit of automatic communication between the two. So like in my Android model classes, all the getters and setters call the persistence layer to directly do their gets, their saves and their reads from the database. But I did still treat it as a separate layer. It's much easier to manage that way. Okay, any other questions?
That particular case, your validation input is activation.
Depends. And part of it depends on, do you want to store invalid data or not? And I tend to like to, whatever the user's typed in, store it, but just mark it invalid, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'm not going to bother persisting that to the database. And then that way somebody else who's reading the data can see, oh, there's invalid data here, but maybe the user was in the middle of something. Maybe they were working with the application and had to go to lunch. Or maybe they're called off to do something else. And I want to make sure the data is saved. But I still want to make sure that it's going to get dealt with as invalid data. So I generally prefer to go ahead and put invalid data in, but make it really clear it's invalid. You have some kind of flag or some kind of algorithm on it. Okay, any other questions? But yes,